When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
What does the phrase New South mean to you?
The New South requires Southerners to drag it into the future.
I think the South is the most beautiful place in America.
My name is Kevin Blackistone, and I'm sitting with my friend Robert Greene II.
We co-host the award-winning podcast, Our New South.
In our 3rd season, Robert and I are going to talk to some of the most celebrated voices in the South.
Follow the show, rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and watch the show on YouTube.
To learn more, go to museumoftheNewSouth.org.
This content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion advised.
His phone buzzed. He quickly looked at it and tried to hide the screen, but I saw the message.
I'm flabbergasted. I'm angry, and I'm freaked out.
My phone started ringing, weird for that time of night, and I saw it was an unknown number, so ignored it. Next thing we know, there's someone knocking on the front door.
She asked if I was in danger, and I said, I don't know.
From Killer Podcasts, true tales of horror, bizarre happenings, unexplainable events. This is Disturbed. Hello, and welcome back to the show. This week, we're bringing you 4 stories that will remind you why you're not supposed to talk to strangers. So sit back, listen closely, and dive into the horror. First, a story narrated by Brandon Alexander Smith from Reddit user ThatRyeGuy2009. That wasn't an invitation.
A couple of years ago, I flew home to visit my family. The plan was that I'd be there for about a week. Then we'd head to the coast for a week, then back home for another week. I totally needed this break. I just ended an on and off again relationship. Like, seriously. One day on, the next off. It took 7 months of putting up with it. You're supposed to fight for what's important to you, right? Anyhow, I finally just said it was done. No more chances. No trying to work it out. Just done. With that chapter of my life being over, I was more than happy to be somewhere else, surrounded by family, to begin putting myself back together. I arrived, and before we left for the coast, I met up with John, a friend from grade school that I'd kept in contact with over the years. I thought it would just be him and I, but he had invited his friend, Sam. I thought it was weird that John didn't tell me he had invited some guy to hang out with us too, but it didn't really faze me that another person was there. We hung out for a while, but before long it was time for me to head home. I needed to head out pretty early because I had to either drive through the backwoods for nearly an hour or take a different route that would add another 20 minutes onto my trek. I preferred the backwoods path, but It made the chances of hitting a deer much higher in the dark. So I said goodbye and told Sam that if he was ever in my neck of the woods, look me up and we'd grab a drink and hang out. I told him to grab my number from John, and out the door I went. About halfway home, I started to get this weird, queasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. I slowed way down, and sure enough, there was a deer in the middle of the road. As I nearly stopped in front of this deer in the road, out of the corner of my eye, I could see another car, way behind me on the road, driving slowly. I couldn't shake the queasy feeling from seeing this car. It got so intense that I thought I was going to be sick. I figured I would be better to cut off and go down the main road because there were more places to stop. I seriously didn't want to stop in some rural farmer's driveway and spill my guts. I've watched too many movies to make that mistake. I get over to the main road and pull into a gas station where I sit for a couple minutes trying not to get sick to my stomach. I ran into the store, grabbed some water and ginger ale, and came back out to my vehicle, still fighting to shake that queasy feeling. I started to head out from the gas station and knew I didn't want to go straight home. So I decided to drive around, taking this road or that road, losing this unseen car I was convinced was still following me. Eventually, that weird feeling started to go away. I made my way home, read for a bit, and then went to sleep. The next day, everything was fine, and so we headed off to the coast. Fast forward 2 weeks. My trip is over, and I'm still feeling a little bit fragile over the breakup, but that's much improved from how I was feeling when I left. I figured I would spend a little time cleansing my environment of the negative energy from that relationship and work through the baggage that came from the breakup. I knew there was a lot, and it would take time. The next day, I'm going about my business when my phone rings. I don't get a lot of calls, so I assumed that there might be a family emergency and that I needed to answer it ASAP. The number wasn't in my contacts, but it had the area code of my parents' town, so I answered without a second thought. On the other end was Sam, the guy I met at John's house. I'm caught off guard that he'd be calling me in the first place, but didn't consider anything more nefarious. I asked him what was up, and he said he was at the airport. I said, "Oh, that's cool. Where are you going?" He said that he'd already landed. I'm distracted and going through my ex's stuff, and I really just want to get him off the phone so I can get back to it. I said, "I hope you have a good time wherever you are." He said that he needed me to pick him up. What? Did you just say you needed me to pick you up? "Yeah," he replied. "I came to visit you." Pause there for a second. I know for a fact that I didn't show any more interest in him than general courtesy. Even the tossed over the shoulder, "Look me up" comment was one of those polite things to say because you never actually plan on seeing someone again. Unpause. "Why did you come to visit me?" I asked. He said he felt a deep connection and wanted to be with me. I'm starting to get angry and freaked out. I told him I didn't feel a connection at all and couldn't believe that he would fly across the country to see someone that he'd spent maybe 2 hours with. He said that I invited him when I said, "Look me up." I said, no. That's just a polite thing to say to some random person that has made a very small impression on me. He said that he needed to find a way back home since I misled him. Misled him? What the fuck? Look me up if you're ever in my neck of the woods. Had led him to think that was a basis for any sort of encounter that was meaningful? He said that he needed a place to stay until he could get the money for a plane ticket back. I said there were more than enough hotels that he could stay at while he got himself sorted out. He said he didn't have any money after buying the random one-way plane ticket. So, at this stage, I'm flabbergasted. I'm angry and I'm freaked out that someone would do that on a one-way ticket. I finally caved and said he could stay the night while he sorted shit out, but I expected him to be gone no later than the morning of the day after tomorrow. So, I bring him back to my place, throw pillows and a blanket on the couch, and turn to head to my bedroom. He asks if he can sleep with me in my bed, and I'm like, no. Actually, no fucking way is that going to happen. I pointed out that I have firearms and that he should not attempt to come in. The next day, I have to work, so I wake him up in the morning and tell him to get up and find a way home immediately. I also told him that I had to work, but would check in on his progress because the next morning I was dropping him off at departures regardless of whether he had a way back or not. I went to work, but he blew up my phone all day. He wanted me to come back to my place for lunch, but I told him no, I'm way too busy. I finally get home from work and I'm chuckling at a text that I got about my dog from the dog sitter who was still watching him from when I went on my trip. I look up from my phone to notice that he rearranged everything in my house while I was gone. And by everything, I mean every room of the house has been rearranged. I flipped my lid. I asked him why he thought it was normal to do any of that. Instead of answering, he asked me who I'd been talking to. I said that it really wasn't any of his business, but I had received a text from a guy who was watching my dog while I was on vacation. Color me shocked when he says that he doesn't want me to talk to that guy. I'm no longer freaked. A full-force apocalyptic disaster is about to be unleashed, and it will leave nothing but a smoking crater. The temperature drops about 10 degrees, and I very calmly said to get his shit, and I was calling a cab to take him to the airport because he's fucking psycho. Full rage has been achieved when it feels like the temperature drops, and I speak very calmly. If I'm complaining about something, it's a quick burn. If I go monotone, calm, and tilt my head to one side slightly, however, that is where I hit Arctic level anger. So he, unaware of the environmental change that has occurred and that the chances of survival are dropping by the second, decides to tell me that he used my computer and got my ex's phone number, and they both agree that I was just heartless. We're fast approaching the epic scale disaster, and he finally seems to notice how deep into rage I have sunk. I told him it was unlikely that he had gotten into my computer because it's a full quote of a part of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and that he would have to have the processing power of the Hadron Collider computer. And it was obvious that was not the case. I told him he had 3 minutes to get his stuff and get out, or I wouldn't be responsible for what would occur. So, still yelling insults at me, he gathers his stuff and leaves. Finally. I used to get calls and texts from him. I'd block one and 6 more would pop up. But it eventually stopped. To this day, I have no idea, nor interest in knowing where he's at or if he made it back. So, to the crazy dude who would hop on a plane with a one-way ticket based on a random polite comment, let's not meet again.
Our next story is told by Meghan Barylak Smith about an Uber driver who decided not to follow the map.
This happened a couple months ago. I was at a friend's house one night and didn't realize how late it was, around 2 a.m. I love sleeping in my own bed, so I decided to call an Uber home instead of staying over. My friend lives in a more rural area of town, so it took a while to get an Uber, and it was around a 40-minute drive back to my house. Upon getting into the Uber, the first comment he made was telling me how pretty I was. Immediately, red flags start going off in my head. I'm already a very anxious person and have always been afraid of taking Ubers alone, especially at night. So I was already on edge before the comment was made. I just replied, "Thank you," and he started to drive me home. My friend was a boy, and I assume the Uber driver saw him standing at the doorway before we left, because around 5 minutes into the drive, he asked, "Was that your boyfriend?" At this point, my gut feeling tells me something is wrong. I reply, "Yes," and say nothing further. He then proceeds to go on about how lucky my boyfriend was, and again, how pretty I was. At this point, I didn't answer. Around 10 minutes into the drive, the Uber driver tells me that he knows a quicker way to get to my house, and we're going to take a detour. I immediately start to panic inside because as an anxious Uber rider, I consistently watch the Uber app on the driver's phone and need to be following the map. Also, this detour seemed to be going deeper down the rural roads versus into the city. I then called my dad, but because it was past 3 a.m. at this point, he didn't answer the phone. I then decide to call 911. The operator answers me right away, and I act like I'm talking to my dad on the phone. She immediately sensed that I was unable to tell her the exact situation, but I acted like I was telling my dad that I was in an Uber and would be home soon. She then started to ask me questions about the color of the car by having me simply answer yes or no, the make of the car, my location, etc. She asked if I was in danger, and I said, "I don't know." After telling her my location, she then told me to tell the Uber driver to get on the highway because the detour he had taken consisted of more rural roads. Thankfully, we were only about 5 minutes from the highway and then another 10 minutes to the police station. She told me to tell the Uber driver to drop me off at a house in a neighborhood close to the police station. She gave me an exact address and advised that an officer would be waiting there for me to take me home. After politely trying to beg the Uber to change the address, he finally did and continued to go in that direction. I stayed on the phone with the operator until I got to the destination. Sure enough, an officer was waiting a couple of houses down. I got out of the Uber and walked straight towards the car. I'm not sure if I was overreacting about the situation due to my anxiety, especially by calling 911, but the alarms were going off so loud in my head that I genuinely thought I needed to in that situation. I now only take Uber alone in the daytime and always share my ride with my parents or friends. Stay safe, everyone.
You're listening to Disturbed. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the podcast. Our next story is about getting trapped in a theater, narrated by Dallas Stark. When it comes to home security, you want to feel like you've picked a system that actually keeps trouble away, not one that just tells you something bad already happened. That's why I like SimpliSafe Home Security. It isn't just another alarm, it's designed to help stop crime before it starts. SimpliSafe uses AI-powered cameras outside your home to spot real threats and instantly alert live agents. And that's what makes it different from the rest. Those agents actually take action while the intruder is still outside, talking to them through the camera, letting them know they're being watched and the police are on their way. And, if needed, they can blast a siren and turn on a spotlight. I got SimpliSafe a while back and I am so happy I did. It was super easy to set up, and I'm glad to have the peace of mind that my home, belongings, and family are safe. Nothing beats that feeling. Other systems might give you a camera and a notification, but they need you to see the alert and handle it. SimpliSafe's monitoring agents have your back, even when you're busy, asleep, or on a plane. They're protecting over 5 million Americans and have been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. and World Report for 5 years in a row. This month only, you can get 50% off any new system. It's a great time to upgrade to security that actually helps stop crime before it starts. Go to simplisafe.com/disturbed. That's simplisafe.com/disturbed. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Now that the holidays are over, you might be feeling that big spending hangover. The gifts, the food, the bills creeping in like shadows under a locked door. Luckily, Mint Mobile is here to help you cut back on overspending on wireless this January with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. And look, I'm not new to Mint. I've been a Mint Mobile user for 3 years now. Leaving the big brand cellular providers was life-changing. My bill went from a couple $100s per month for 3 lines to less than $750 for the year. The service is great, affordable, and ideal for anyone who uses a cell phone. I've been telling my family to use Mint Mobile for years. Mint Mobile's end-of-the-year sale is still going on, but only until the end of the month. Cut out Big Wireless's bloated plans with 50% off 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited. All plans include high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. This January, Mint Mobile is here to help you cut back on overspending on wireless with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Plans starting at $15 a month at mintmobile.com/disturbed. That's mintmobile.com/disturbed. Limited time offer. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month, $90 for 6-month, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
This happened during my freshman year of college. I was taking a theater appreciation class, and we had to attend some of the plays the theater department put on. Normally, I went with friends, but for this one, I had to go alone since I had another event when my friends went. The play started at 6:30, so I set out on the short 10-minute walk to the theater. When I arrived, I saw a man standing by the entrance. Out of habit, I smiled at him. I tend to do that with strangers. He smiled back, but there's something about him that made me feel uneasy. He got in line right behind me, and while we waited, I overheard him muttering to himself about his car and where it was parked. I wasn't really paying attention until I heard him say, "Where are you sitting?" I thought he was talking to someone else, so I didn't respond. Once my ticket was scanned, I went in and found my seat. But then, to my surprise, the same man sat down right next to me. I heard him mumble, "I can't believe it," right next to me. His tone sent a chill through me, but I tried to ignore it. He was probably in his early 30s, and soon enough he turned to me and started asking questions. Too many questions. "Do you come to these plays often?" he asked. I told him no. He quickly launched into how he was a regular and loved them, even mentioning that his girlfriend was in the play that night. I was still creeped out, but I felt a twinge of guilt for judging him so quickly. A girl had been abducted, trafficked, and murdered in my college town a year or two before I was there, so I was on edge about getting into a bad situation. But maybe he was just being friendly. But then, something strange happened. Everything I said,
he had the same interests, the same experiences. It was unsettling. When he asked what kind of music I liked, I decided to mention Regina Spektor, a lesser-known artist, thinking he wouldn't know her. His response? Oh, I love Regina Spektor. She's amazing. I listen to her all the time. It was too much. He was agreeing with everything I said, and the more he did, the more uncomfortable I felt. Right before the play started, a woman around his age sat on my other side. The moment she sat down, he went quiet. Then, oddly, the woman struck up the same kind of small talk with me. She even asked similar questions, almost as if they had compared notes. As she talked, she touched my arm a few times in this weird, too familiar way, just like the man had done earlier. I felt trapped between them. Thankfully, the play started, and everyone went silent. But I could still feel their eyes on me, watching me, the whole time. At intermission, the man offered to get me something from concessions. I declined, but he kept insisting. "I'll surprise you," he said, his tone a little too eager. I kept saying no, but he seemed frustrated and eventually got up to leave. As soon as he was gone, the woman picked up right where he left off, asking me about singing because she thought my voice sounded pretty. I told her I used to sing in high school but had stopped. Again, she touched my arm while she talked, more than once, and it made my skin crawl. When the man returned, he brought back some M&Ms and Milk Duds, both of which looked like they had already been opened. He offered me the Milk Duds, and I declined. He didn't eat them either, he just placed them on the floor like he wasn't sure what to do next. Then he started asking more personal questions about my family and whether I came to college alone. I lied, telling him I lived with my brother in an apartment far from where I actually stayed. That's when he leaned in and told me he was an amateur music producer and that I had a great voice. I should come by his place sometime to record. He just happened to live near where I said I lived. It was all too much, and the tension in my chest wouldn't go away. Then, his phone buzzed. He quickly looked at it and tried to hide the screen. But I saw the message. "She's really cute. Do you think she'll work?" My heart was racing. I wanted to bolt right then and there, but I didn't know what to do. The woman beside me suddenly touched my arm again and whispered that she was going to the bathroom, suggesting I come with her. At first I thought maybe she had noticed the man's odd behavior and was trying to help. But then I saw her phone light up in her lap with a message that read, "Yes." It was from an unsaved number. I felt my stomach drop. She never went to the bathroom. We all just sat there as the second half of the play dragged on, tension thick in the air. Both of them kept glancing at me, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. The moment the play ended, I got up and climbed over the woman, making my way to the exit as fast as possible. Once outside, I darted into the bathroom, trying to collect myself. When I finally came out, I saw the man and woman standing in the corner of the foyer having what looked like a heated whispering argument. When the woman spotted me, she immediately stopped talking, and the man began walking toward me. "I can give you a ride to your apartment," he offered. I told him no, that my brother was picking me up. Just then, one of my classmates ran over, calling out to me, "Susie! Hey, Susie!" The man backed off when he saw my friend. We left together, and as we walked out, I heard him yell behind me, "Susie, hope to see you again." I didn't look back. I just ran, staying on the phone with my mom the whole way home. I can't stop wondering, why did they act like they didn't know each other when they clearly did? Why did they both ask me the same creepy questions, touching my arm like they were trying to establish some weird familiarity? And what was with the texts? Were they communicating with each other about me the whole time? Where did that candy come from? Why was it already opened? Why didn't he eat it? And why did they keep acting like they were trying to separate me, asking if I wanted to go to the bathroom or ride with them? Am I paranoid? Or was something seriously wrong?
A new year and colder days mean your winter wardrobe really has to deliver. If you're craving a reset, start with pieces built to last. Because nothing's scarier than stepping into the cold only to realize that your coat has the structural integrity of a haunted house. Quince brings together premium materials and lasting quality so you stay warm, look sharp, and feel your best. Quince has everything: Mongolian cashmere sweaters, wool coats, leather outerwear, and beyond the wardrobe, my most recent purchase was a set of bed sheets that have totally changed the quality of my sleep. Quince is quality, affordable, and every piece I've ordered, from joggers to sheets, is comfortable. Their outerwear is especially impressive. Each piece is made from premium materials by trusted factories without luxury markups, classic styles that hold up year after year. Refresh your winter wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/disturbed for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/disturbed. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/disturbed.
On February 13th, Crime 101 hits theaters.
What is it that you do?
I take high-value items and make them disappear.
So you're a thief.
This guy's a ghost. There's no DNA. He's in and out in seconds.
Your guy's untraceable.
Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, and Halle Berry. One crime connects them all.
We're good at this.
Yeah.
Crime 101, directed by Bart Layton. Rated R, under 17 on admitted without parent. Only in theaters February 13th.
Our final story is narrated by Hannah Robertson from r/Creepy Encounters. We all love pizza, but the interaction is supposed to end when the delivery guy drives off.
So me and my boyfriend like going out dancing on the weekend, which always ends with us stumbling into our favourite pizza place before joining the taxi queue. We've done this most weekends for over a year now, so have become somewhat friendly with the guys who own the pizzeria. They know us by name and always make a big fuss over us and offer us discounts every time. Well, last Sunday night, around 11 p.m, my boyfriend and I were in bed because we both had work this morning. My phone started ringing, weird for that time of night, and I saw it was an unknown number, so ignored it. Next thing we know, there's someone knocking on the front door. All the lights in the house were off, so we were clearly in bed or not in. I had another call from the same number, and then the person knocking started hammering on the door and flicking the letterbox. My boyfriend got up to answer it, even though I was a bit shaken up, and warned him not to. If I had been alone in the house, I never would have answered. He goes downstairs to answer the door, and lo and behold, it's one of the guys from the pizzeria, holding 2 freshly cooked pizzas that we didn't order. He said not to tell the other guys at the shop, but they were a gift from him to us, his favourite customers. My boyfriend took them from him and thanked him, but we couldn't get back to sleep for hours. We just felt so odd about it. A couple of weeks later, we went out for drinks and ended up back at the pizza shop. We noticed immediately that Bill wasn't there, and I assumed that he was out on a delivery instead. Before we left, though, the manager came out of the back and said hello, and then apologised profusely about Bill's behaviour and told us that he fired him. He was very thankful that we weren't boycotting the place, and I assured him we wouldn't because it really was the best pizza around. I'm not sure how the manager found out about Bill bringing the pizzas to our house, but I informed the manager about everything else that happened that night, how late it was, Bill calling my phone, etc. He was furious, to say the least. He assured us that he wouldn't be letting him work there again, and my partner and I went on our way and went home. A few months later, we moved houses and completely forgot about how weird Bill and that whole situation was. Until he showed up one night at our new house. He was delivering food for Uber Eats and happened to pick up our order. I didn't want to take it further because we hadn't heard or seen him in months, so we just left it alone and went about our life. About a month ago, I was going through my message requests on Facebook, and I saw that someone called Bill had been messaging me, or trying to, for months. I went into the messages and clicked his profile, and lo and behold, it was Creepy Bill. I blocked him immediately, and that's when I decided to report him on Uber Eats. So I filed a complaint about him, and I haven't heard anything since. But yeah, I've no idea how he found me on Facebook or how he knew my surname, but he did, and tried to message me for months. It's just so creepy. What does this guy want from us? We just got pizza at the place he worked. What gives? I hope I don't have to do anything more drastic to get Bill off our backs and out of our lives for good.
Want more Disturbed? Check out our Patreon for member-exclusive content, early merch access, and other cool perks. I'm your host, Doug Bailey, and this has been Disturbed, a production of Killer Podcasts and part of the Evergreen Network. For more paranormal and true crime shows, visit killerpodcasts.com. Follow our social channels at Disturbed Podcast on Instagram or Disturbed_pod on Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and reviewing on your favorite listening platform. Share your own true horror story at disturbedpodcast.com. Music by Epidemic Sound and by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Our producer is Elizabeth Flood. Our sound designer and audio engineer is Nathan Corson. Executive producers Bridget Coyne and Noah Fouts. Until next time, stay safe out there.